you treat it is if L were the only variable there? Well, you'd get rid of what's being added to it by subtracting 2w from both sides. So that gives you P minus 2w equals 2L. Now, I might switch sides every once in a while of the equation, and you'll see what I mean by that in the next line, but it means the same thing because equations, you're allowed to switch the sides. So now I gotta get the L by itself. I don't wanna have 2L, I wanna just have L. So I have to get rid of that 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. See, there's just one big fraction. So L equals P minus 2W over 2. That's one way that it can be written. And that's an absolutely fine way to give me an answer. However, some of you may have seen it done slightly differently. And when you have a fraction over a single number like this, you can separate it into separate divisions, or I could have done it here by dividing each thing by 2, or I could have multiplied by a half, all the same thing. So I can separate this into P over 2 minus 2W over 2. See how I've separated separate divisions? And that simplifies to P over 2 minus W. So whether you wrote the answer this way or you wrote the answer this way, either one is acceptable. So what we want you to do now is pause the video and do these 4 examples. And when you're done, I'll have the answers on the rest of the video. So please go ahead after you've done those examples and check out the rest of the video for the answers and for further explanation. Now, remember, you're doing these not just as classwork, but as examples, almost as if this is homework, because I'm not spending, you're still gonna have quizzes and tests on this information. I'm just not gonna spend the time for us to do this on homework. I'm having you do it as classwork. All right, so now that you've unpaused the video, I can go ahead and show you on page 36. Here are the problems. And in the first one, number 9, we are solving for W. So I'm going to subtract 4L from both sides. So P minus 4L equals 3W. And then we're going to divide both sides by 3. So W ends up equaling P minus 4L over 3. In the next example, we're trying to solve for, let's see, M. And this is actually super easy. I'm trying to get M by itself. The only thing that's happening to M is it's being multiplied by something, by C squared. So I divide by C squared. So M equals E over C squared, done. That was all there was to that one. In this next example, 16, in 16, they are asking us to solve for H sub 0. Now, just so you know, this is one of the formulas in physics for, I believe this one is for throwing an object upward, and the height it achieves, that one is for throwing an object upward. This one might be for the time it takes for it to fall, but I think that one's for throwing it upward. Anyway, you can ask your science teacher for exact definitions, but what's important here is we're trying to get H sub 0 by itself, and that's actually fairly easy. We have to get rid of this by adding a positive 16t squared to both sides. So there's H plus 16t squared equals keeping up with me? Come on, there we go. Plus 16t squared equals h sub 0. By the way, anytime you see sub 0 like this, that's not times 0. That means a particular height, in this case. H stands for height. So height at times 0. So the starting height of something. That's what h sub 0 means. Now let's go back up here and take a look at this next one. This was the one we tossed something up and what is its height at a particular time in seconds. That's what h, and v is velocity. In other words, how much oomph do I put behind that throw? That's what v sub 0 means. H sub 0 is the initial height when I let it go. All right, so we're asked in this case for number 17 to find v sub 0. Is that supposed to be a t there? Yes, it is. And there's supposed to be a plus sign, so let me fix that. Somehow there's a mistake here, and I'm going to fix it right there. There should be a plus sign. Good. Oh, it's off the charts here. All right, I'll put it there. We'll fix it. All set. Now we can continue. This is what it's like in my class every day. If I make a mistake, I fix it. It's no big deal. Just like when you make a mistake, it's no big deal. So let's just continue on with what we're doing here. V sub 0, we want v sub 0 by itself. So that's this expression. So anything added to it has to go to the other side. So I'm going to move the negative 16t squared and the h sub 0 to the other side. I'm going to add 16t squared and subtract h sub 0 from both sides. Oops, put the 0 on the top. There we go. There we go, h sub 0. That's an h. You can see that, right? All right, h plus 16t squared minus h sub 0, that's this side, equals v sub 0 t. So the next thing I have to do is get rid of the t. I'm going to divide by t because it's multiplied times v sub 0. So now v sub 0, it's on this side, I'm just going to write it that way, equals. Now the order here doesn't matter as long as the sign goes with the right thing. So h plus 16t squared minus h sub 0 over, it's a lousy h, t. And there is my answer for 17. Hopefully you got that one right. If you did, congratulations. If not, hopefully you understood it. Let's move on to the next. Whoa. Next topic is slope. And this is what we're going to focus most of our energies on for homework tonight, is slope. Now, if you didn't recall, slope happens to be represented by the letter M. And some of you may have heard slope described as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Nothing wrong with that. I always found it easier to remember it y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Does it really matter which of these two I use? No, because it doesn't matter which one is the first point and the second point. It comes out in the same end slope. So let's name these something. Let's name this Do you want the first point, this one? Sure. x1, y1. That means this is x2 and y2. So now it doesn't matter which one of these I plug it into. Try it with whichever one you prefer. And the slope here is going to be, let's see, 4 minus -7. In this example, I'm going to do this one first. So I'm using that. And then the x's are always on the bottom. The x has to be on the bottom. If you don't have the x on the bottom, it's going to give you all kinds of trouble. So please make sure the x is on the bottom, the y is on the top. Rise, the left-right, up-down movement, over the run, the left-right movement. 6 minus 8. Now, notice that the values from the same point are one above the other. Same point, one above the other. If you do it switched, it's going to give you a problem with your sign. The result of this, 4 minus negative is plus a positive, right? So that would be 11, and 6 minus 8, -2. Now, if I had done this formula instead, I'd ended up with a -11 over a +2. Same thing. Whether it's written this way or this way, or you could even write the negative to the side like that. They're all a -11/2, no matter which one you do. And whenever you're working with slope, you can reduce it, but never make slope a mixed number. That's not what we do with slope. Okay. I want you to go ahead and try these next two, and then once you've tried those two and found the slope, move on and watch the rest of the video. So pause it now, try to find slope from those two, and then move on. I'm going to show you now how to do this. M equals, now I'm going to use this one as the y, so I'll do y2 minus y1 in this case, for those who like that better. And -6 minus 9. All right. Just to show you it doesn't make a darn bit of difference. All right. Plus a positive, so -5 and +2 make -3. -6 and -9 make -15. What's a negative divided by a negative? A positive. So that gives me 1/5. Again, if you have something that can reduce and you don't reduce it on a quiz or a test, I am taking points off for that. So fair warning, don't forget to reduce when possible. All right, next example. Slope here. Let's see, -1 minus 5 over -6 minus -6. Okay. Let's see, that's -6 on top, and what do I get on bottom? 0. That's awful 0. Let's fix that. 0. That is not the final answer. If you stop there, I'm taking points off. That is not your final answer. Your final answer for here, by the way, can you divide by 0? The answer is no, you cannot. So when you have division by 0, that's undefined. And I usually abbreviate that UD, undefined. You're not allowed to divide by 0 in mathematics. All right, give that one a try, and then you can unpause the video and see the answer. Now that you've unpaused the video and you've done it on your own, the slope here, 2 minus 2 over -1 minus -4. All right, I get 0 over 3. That is not your final answer either here. So don't stop when you have a 0 involved. you have to continue it. What is 0 divided by 3? 0. All right. Last but not least, before I give you your assignment, and your assignment will be on Google Classroom. So please make sure that you check out Google Classroom for the assignment. If this is a remote example. Slope. Now, if I drew a line through these 2 points, we can see that that line has a certain slant. But if you're given a graph, now let me just move that out of the way for a minute. If you're given a graph and you're asked to find the slope of the line that connects or that goes through these 2 points, you're going to be counting from one point to the other. So for example, you're counting the rise, the up-down movement. Now it doesn't matter which point you start with as long as you figure out the up-down movement and then the left-right movement from that point to the other point. So here, I'm going to count up until I get to the same level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a positive 5 movement. So my slope here is 5 over something. Now I'm going to have to count the left-right movement, and this goes to the right, which is a positive direction. Oh, up is also a positive direction. The reverse is negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's a positive 10. That leaves me with a slope of 1/2. All right. So if this is my line, what kind of slope is it? It is positive. So it's a positive slope, specifically 1/2 in this particular case. But when it says describe the slant of the line, that's referring to positive. If you were to describe this, I would describe it as from left to right uphill.